Hello everyone. Welcome to my latest video. Today, we'll be exploring a vulnerable machine called Venus from the Plant series. This machine is classified as medium difficulty. To begin, visit the VulnHub website and download the Venus image. If you're not familiar with VulnHub, take a look at our VulnHub playlist for some useful tutorials. Settings up. Once you've downloaded the image, the next step is setting up the server in VirtualBox. This process is quite simple and involves importing the OVA file into VirtualBox using the Import Appliance feature. Importing the OVA file into VirtualBox is a straightforward process. Here's how to do it. Launch VirtualBox. Double-click on the OVA image, which will automatically launch the VirtualBox and open a review window. Now, review the appliance details and settings. You can adjust them as needed. Click Finish to start the import. Once the import is finished, you'll see the Venus vulnerable machine listed in the VirtualBox Manager under the VulnHub group. Select the virtual machine, go to Settings, and change the network adapter to Host-Only Adapter. It's important to ensure that both your Kali Linux machine, used for attacks, and the vulnerable machine are connected to the same network. So make sure they're both connected via the host-only adapter. Now, it's time to start the VM. Now, you'll notice that our vulnerable machine is ready, with a login prompt awaiting. Let's dive into the fun. Enumeration. The initial step in our attack is enumeration, which involves identifying the IP address of our target machine using netdiscover. To execute this, open a terminal and run netdiscover-i followed by specifying the network interface name, which in this case is ETH1. From the scan results, we've obtained our target IP address, 192.168.95.15. Next, we'll conduct a network scan to identify open ports, a crucial step in the enumeration process. This helps us understand the attack surface and strategize targeted attacks. We'll use the popular Nmap tool for this task. Run Nmap-sc-sv followed by specifying the IP address. In this command, -sc is used to perform a script scan using the default set of scripts, while -sv enables version detection, allowing us to identify which versions are running on which port. Upon running this command, we see that our target is blocking ping probes. Therefore, we need to use the -pn option to skip pinging. After completing the network scan, we discovered the presence of two open ports. Port 22 TCP is running an SSH service, indicating that gaining access to the server with valid credentials will be straightforward. Additionally, port 8080 TCP is hosting an HTTP proxy service, suggesting that a vulnerable website may be accessible. Let's explore the web content hosted on port 8080. To do this, open a web browser of your choice and navigate to the target's IP address in the URL bar. Upon visiting the website, I encountered a login form along with a hint for login credentials, guest. Let's try logging in with these credentials. After logging in, it shows a Venus monitoring web page, displaying the current status of Venus. However, I didn't find any information that could provide a reverse shell. To further investigate the target URL, we will conduct directory busting to uncover hidden or hard-to-find directories and pages. For this task, we'll use the GoBuster tool, where GoBuster dir is used to instruct GoBuster to perform directory busting. The -u is used to specify the target URL we want to explore. -w is used to provide the path to the word list containing common directory names to try. Using the directory busting tool, we have identified an important directory. Let's visit this admin page. Upon accessing the admin page, I encountered a Django administration login page, prompting for a username and password. Let's try the guest credentials to see if they work. However, upon attempting to log in with any username and password, it shows a server error. Even when trying with random usernames and passwords, we get the same internal server error problem. This issue seems to occur because we are logged in as the user guest. It appears that the guest user does not have the authority to access the server, resulting in a server error, 500. Let's go back to the home page. However, there is no logout option available. So, let's intercept the request and response data to see if we can find a way to gain a foothold on the server. Foothold. To intercept the request, I will use BurpSuite. Launch BurpSuite from the Kali menu. Access the Proxy tab and activate Intercept mode to capture target requests. Now, we need to configure the browser's proxy settings using Foxy Proxy. Switch the proxy to BurpSuite within the Foxy Proxy extension. Now, reload the page. BurpSuite will automatically intercept the requested data. Send the captured request to the repeater tool in BurpSuite. Upon sending the request, we receive an interesting response. Based on this response, it appears we might have found a vulnerability related to how the authentication token is handled. The details suggest that the auth token in the cookie could be manipulated or exploited. Now, let's break down the potential issues and the type of vulnerability. Upon analyzing the auth token in the cookie, it looks like it is in the form of base 64 encoding. When we select the encoded text in BurpSuite, we get the string, guest, thrfm. Upon further analysis, I found that the username and password are concatenated as username a password. The password part is encrypted using ROT13. The entire string, username ROT13, password, is then encoded using base 64. This format reveals something important: the token is not encrypted, it is merely encoded in base 64, which is easily reversible. This is a major security flaw. If an attacker can guess or brute force the values, they can generate valid tokens for different users. Based on this detailed analysis, the vulnerability in the auth token can be identified as insecure authentication token management. Let's exploit this vulnerability. Exploitation. To exploit this vulnerability, we need to capture a valid token. But first, we should enumerate the usernames if possible. Open the URL in a private window. Input an invalid username and a valid password. As a result, we get an invalid username error, indicating that we can enumerate usernames using a brute force attack. For this purpose, I am here using Hydra. Open a new terminal. Here, type Hydra, -L, then, we have to specify a username word list. For this purpose here I am using rocku.txt. Then, use -p, here I am going to specify a password, which is used for all users. Next, use -s to specify the port. Next, we have to specify the HTTP form data. This Hydra command will attempt to log into the web application at 192.168.95.15:8080 using the usernames from the rocku.txt word list in the password pass. It will make an HTTP post request to the root path, submitting each username and the fixed password in the form data. Hydra will check the server's response for the string invalid username to determine if the login attempt was unsuccessful. Hydra discovers two valid usernames, Venus and Magellan. Next, we'll modify the auth token. For this purpose, we'll use CyberChef. First, copy the auth token. Paste it into the input section of CyberChef. Drag from base 64 to the recipe list to decode the base 64 string. The output will display the decoded result. Copy this result, modify the username to Venus, and encode it back to base 64. Now, replace the auth token in the request with the newly generated base 64 encoded data. However, upon sending the modified request, it didn't work. Let's revisit the URL in another tab on the browser. BurpSuite will intercept the request again. Copy this intercepted request data to the repeater. Upon sending the modified request from the repeater, we receive a new cookie. Let's decode the new cookie to see if we get something useful. It again contains the username and encoded data. The same applies to the user Magellan. Let's decode the new cookie to see if we get something useful. It again contains the username and encoded data. Let's decrypt this data using ROT13 to find out the password for each respective username. Now that we have the usernames and passwords, let's try to gain SSH access. Open a new terminal and use the SSH client to attempt a connection. Upon accessing the user Magellan, we successfully log in. First, let's check for the user flag. After listing the files and directories, we find the user flag. With the user flag in hand, let's attempt to access the root flag. However, we encountered a permission denied error. Our next objective is to acquire root access in order to complete the CTF challenge. Privilege escalation. During the process of privilege escalation, our primary goal is to gather system information and identify any potential vulnerabilities or misconfigurations that might grant us higher privileges, ultimately allowing root access. To start, let's perform a user permissions enumeration to analyze the user's rights and privileges on the system. This can be achieved by executing the sudo-elf command. After executing this command, I discovered that the user Magellan does not have permission to run sudo commands. Next, we will use LinPEAS, a powerful tool used to extract various information, including SUID binaries and vulnerabilities, which can aid in privilege escalation. To get started, download LinPEAS from its GitHub repository. Once you have LinPEAS, initiate a Python 3 HTTP server. Switch back to the target server and use the git command to download LinPEAS from the IP address of the machine running the Python 3 HTTP server. If you are unsure about the IP address of your host-only adapter, you can use the ifconfig-eth1 command to find it. After successfully downloading LinPEAS on the target server, use the ls-al command to check if the file exists. Upon inspecting, I discovered that the LinPEAS.sh file does not have the necessary execution permissions. To resolve this, give the execution permission to the LinPEAS.sh file using the chmod +x linpeas.sh command. Once the execution permission is granted, run the linpeas.sh file. This time, it should execute without any issues. After running linpeas.sh, the tool will generate output, providing comprehensive information, including SUID binaries, vulnerabilities, and other relevant data to aid in the privilege escalation process. Upon analyzing the LinPEAS output, I discovered that the server is vulnerable to a local privilege escalation vulnerability. For this purpose, we will use the CVE-2021-4034 PwnKit vulnerability. Download the exploit code from the provided link. Use the wget command to download the zip file. Unzip it and change the directory to the unzipped directory. To compile and run the exploit, first, we have to take a look at the README file using the cat command. Based on the provided readme.md instructions, here is a step-by-step guide to compile and run the CVE-2021-4034 exploit. Now, we have to compile the C code. The make file should compile the necessary files. Run the make command. This will compile the PwnKit.so and CVE-2021-4034 binaries. After running make, you should see the compiled binaries. Now, run the exploit. To execute the exploit and obtain a root shell, run the compiled CVE-2021-4034 binary. Upon running, it grants a root shell. Confirm this by running whoami. If it returns root, the escalation is successful. Change the directory to root to obtain the root flag. That's all for this tutorial. If you have any doubts or queries related to this video, please write to me in the comments section.